Hey guys, what's going on? So now we are in the last couple of days of filming for Star Wars Episode 9 by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing I will say that I'm truly excited to see in this movie is, of course, the new threat that will rise against the First Order and the Resistance themselves. We do know that JJ created a new threat in this story in order to make it somewhat unique, and something like we have never seen before in a Star Wars film to date out of all the 9 Star Wars films. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art, and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with Kylo Ren, Emperor Palpatine, the Knights of Ren, and the new threat in the film. Specifically, a description of Kylo Ren sitting on his throne with all 6 knights kneeling in front of him. It's described that the Knights of Ren have returned from a mission that will be off-screen and that Kylo sent them there. It's described that they discovered a new threat against the galaxy that had ties with Emperor Palpatine and even after Palpatine's death. It's described that Kylo has been feeling a dark side presence in the unknown regions. It's also described that this may be a similar presence that Palpatine once felt. It's said that Kylo has been listening and examining holograms of Emperor Palpatine, revealing that Palpatine had attempted to initiate a way for this new threat to reach the galaxy that may just be making their way now, decades later, during the events of Episode 9. So I really want to go over a couple of parts about this and as to why it's really intriguing to me and how it kind of ties in to some of the books and the novels out there. Now, I believe it was either in Aftermath or Empire's End where you do learn that Palpatine felt a dark presence in the unknown regions or in or around that area. So you can see that J.J. Abrams is really trying to attach this movie to not just video games, Star Wars Rebels, the prequels, and the originals, but also to the books as well. And what I find very interesting for sure is how Kylo Ren has been listening to these holograms and actually examining holograms of Emperor Palpatine and basically gaining knowledge of this new threat in this movie. It seems as though that's going to be one of the big missions in the film for Kylo and the Knights, is of course going up against this new threat in Episode 9. This could very well have something to do also with the new villain that will be making an appearance in the movie, based within the second and the third act of the film. So with that being said, we do know that Emperor Palpatine is a fan favorite, right? We also know that he will be making a cameo appearance in some way, shape, or form in this movie in the forms of course, visions and or, of course, flashbacks / holograms here and there. So when you look at everything, Palpatine really is a big piece to the puzzle here about the new threat discovering the First Order and the Resistance in this region of the galaxy. So what I find very intriguing for sure is how it's said that Kylo has been listening and examining to these holograms of Palpatine that reveals that Palpatine had once attempted to initiate a way for this new threat to reach the galaxy that may just be making their way now, decades later. Now that to me sounds amazing. Now, not only does this kind of somewhat mean that Palpatine did this to the First Order and the Resistance, but also Palpatine initiated this whole entire scenario to happen. It's as if he basically created a signal decades ago, and now this new threat is just finding their way to wherever that signal originates from. And that to me sounds like a very interesting plot point for a Star Wars movie by J.J. Abrams that connects all the way back to the original trilogy and maybe even the prequel trilogy era. So with that being said, this new threat, are we going to learn more and more about them in promo material, or are they going to really keep this under wraps as far as visuals go when it comes to, of course, all the different TV spots and the teasers and the trailers? That's a huge question for sure on whether or not we're going to see, you know, the new villain and or this new threat in Star Wars Episode 9 during the marketing of the film. So, about Palpatine, this is where things get very interesting for me, because we do know that Palpatine, if you guys read a lot of the books out there that falls under the Disney canon, he did actually feel a presence over in the unknown regions. That presence could very well be exactly what's going to be intervening between the First Order and the Resistance in this film that's actually going to connect to the books, of course, you know, that a lot of people know and love and have read before in the past. So, with that being said, is this Disney's way, quite possibly, of basically implementing a newer version of the Yuzong Vong, or could it, if they really wanted to go a really interesting route. Could they very well make the Old Republic in their own way, where maybe, you know, there are ancient Sith and other forms of Sith Lords hiding out in the unknown regions that actually come into play here for Episode 9, and that could very well tie into what the new Star Wars trilogy is going to be by the creators of Game of Thrones. Again, like I say, the Old Republic that you know and love in the video games, that's not canon. So if they do make the Old Republic canon, Disney's going to make their own version of that most likely, so just keep that in mind. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not the one from night.